As an African living in Africa, specifically in Nigeria, I would say that from our perspective, the greatest threat to multilateral security on the continent is the underdevelopment and poverty of our people. Specifically, I think that without our being able to provide jobs and employment for our young men, and I do mean young men in particular, we run the risk of their becoming disaffected and either turning to criminality or criminality with a political tinge, which then becomes a rebel movement and grows, as we saw in Sierra Leone, as we're seeing in the Niger Delta and in other parts of the continent. So I think that that is the major threat from our point of view. Of course, we're affected by what happens on the outside world, particularly if we want to improve the employment and poverty situation on the continent, then we have to be engaged in trade with the outside world. But again, I think that the biggest advertisement for people who would want to trade with African countries is whether Africans want to trade with themselves, and particularly whether the diaspora is interested in being involved in the development of the continent, or whether they have just left it behind and are glad to shake the dust off their feet. So I think that those are things which are not necessarily peculiar to Africa, but the dangers that we face from the unemployment and poverty situation are probably greater than other continents or other parts of the world.